It's a common expression, isn't it? Could mean to literally put on a production of something, maybe at the theatre, or it could mean to play something up, to make a show of it in order to change your image or give a different idea of yourself. Take this famous example. Gordon Brown, ex-Prime Minister, was meeting one of his supporters for a press opportunity. The meeting seemed to go really well. They got on, they laughed and joked, and then he got into the car with his microphone still on and said this.
It's a disaster. Should never have put me with that woman. Whose idea was that? Everything. She's just this all bigoted woman.
He put on a show for the cameras, and as soon as he thought he was out of their sight, he let his other side, his true side, come out. He didn't care about that woman. He didn't want to interview her. He didn't even like her. He was worried about the benefits for him, how he came across, his image. His heart was fixed on himself. It was all about him. Jesus warns at the end of chapter 12 against those who put on a show to look like they care for God. And he praises those who let their love for God become their reality. In other words, as Jesus comes to the end of his time in the temple, he teaches the crowd and his disciples the difference between looking religious and loving God. Now, the temple scribes would have been really good at putting on a show to look religious. And you wouldn't have been able to miss them. They would have worn long and flowing robes to show their status. And everyone would have greeted them in the marketplace with respect. They would have had the places of honour at banquets and the most important seats in the temple. And when they prayed, their prayers would be lengthy and wordy. They'd probably sound very eloquent and impressive. We might think, wow, I wish I was more like them. They're so faithful, so religious. God must love them. Look at all they do. And that's exactly the image they would have wanted to give. And maybe we're looking at them now thinking they look quite good. And yet Jesus says, watch out for them. Sure, they look like they're doing everything right. They look righteous. But they make their living out of exploiting the vulnerable. Jesus uses the expression, they devour widows' houses. It's a pretty strong image, isn't it? You can imagine them tearing apart and consuming everything in this poor, helpless widow's home, taking anything they want from others, the weak and the needy, so that they can have their positions of honour in the banquets and at the temple. Their hearts are fixed firmly on themselves. They want to be great. They want all the attention, and they don't care about the others, the needy around them. They look good on the outside, but spiritually, they're bearing no fruit. Sound familiar? Jesus says they will be judged harshly. In complete contrast, we have the widow, and she shows us what it looks like to not just look religious, but to love God. Jesus and his disciples are watching people come and donate money to the temple treasury. And rich person after rich person are throwing in huge, large amounts. Imagine the sound of hundreds of gold coins hitting the bottom of the pot. And then another 100 gold coins comes and hits the bottom of the pot. And then a widow comes with 2 coins. Tink. Next to nothing. It probably would have looked like, at least to everyone there, like a pathetic contribution. Is she not going to give more than that? Does she not care for God? Is that all she's willing to give him? It's not what Jesus says. In fact, Jesus says she's given more than anyone else. Has Jesus forgotten how to count? Has the noise in the temple deafened him and maybe he thought she put in more than she did? No. Jesus knows exactly how much she puts in. And Jesus goes on to explain that while everyone else gave part of their wealth, part of what they had, she gave everything. Last week we were thinking about giving ourselves to God. All we are and everything we have to him. This week, we literally see someone give all they materially have to God. Everything she had, that's what Jesus tells us. She had 2 coins. She could have kept one and given the other, but she gave both. Everything she had to him. The difference with the widow, the reason Jesus points her out, is not because of her action. Everyone was giving money, and it's not because of the value of what she gave, but rather the heart with which she gave. Her heart was not fixed on herself, like Gordon Brown's or the scribes were. Her heart was fixed on God. She entrusted everything she materially had to him. The scribes, they wanted to get other people's attention on them. The widow, she gives her attention to God. And Jesus' response to her tells us that he doesn't mind about the status of rich or poor. Those things aren't what matter to him. They're not what makes someone great. What matters to him is the person's heart for God. Do you see the difference between the widow and the scribes? It begs the question, where is our heart when we come to God? We live in an age obsessed with image, and maybe we've got really good at putting on a show, particularly over social media. We carefully choose what photos we're going to put up on our Instagram or send over Snapchat, and we film our TikToks 4 or 5 times before we put them out there, so we can make sure that people see us how we want to be seen, even if that's not how we actually are. We're good at putting on a show. I know I am. I'm refilming this video after I did it yesterday because I didn't like my hair when I watched it back. We're good at putting on shows. And maybe that carries over into how we come to God. Do we answer questions at church or at youth club because we want others to see how smart we are, or because we love God? Do we want to be seen carrying as many chairs at the end of a church service or when packing away something so everyone can see how servant-hearted we are? Or do we do it because we love God? Do we go to church on a Sunday every week because it's the right thing to be seen to be doing, or because we love God with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength? When Jesus gave up everything on the cross, he did it for real, not for show. So, will we let our love for God be real, flow into everything we do, and give up everything to him like the widow did? Or, like the scribes, do we just want to put on a show?